The power of television.
We kick off today's episode with a video by D.A. Sebasstian, who incidentally produces this here show. I even make an appearance in it. This song is Monster Monster, right here on Go-Kustom TV.
Hey man, I don't care if you can't dig what I'm saying, 'cause I'm halfway to Hills. Make that go on!
We're here at Soldano Custom Amplification, right here with Mona here, and we're gonna go check out the amplifiers that Soldano makes. Let's go see if we can find Mike Soldano. So show us what you got here.
Alrighty, I can do that.
I wanna give you this.
Oh, okay. This is the nursery. This is where all Soldano amps start life. This is where all the babies are. Every amp we build gets run for at least 48 hours prior to it being shipped to stores and dealers far and wide. Because if any parts are going to fail or give us any trouble, it's going to do it here in our shop instead of in somebody's living room or somebody's store. So after an amp is built, it comes down here and it spends about 2 or 3 days just being left on, and we walk in here and we play them and we test them and we put them through their paces and we crank them up loud, we turn them down low, we turn all the knobs, make sure the thing sounds right, and flip all the switches. And so this is kind of the place where all that happens.
Okay.
But then they have to get here, so now we must go to where they start life prior to this.
Prior to the nursery. Prior
to the nursery, yeah, when they're still mere embryos of amps. This is the office area.
Who's this?
This is Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Say hi, Bill.
Hi there.
We do our bookkeeping, our design work, that kind of stuff here. This is kind of our little lunchroom and hangout zone over here where, you know, we just all sit around and have lunch, take our breaks, that kind of thing. And up here is where the amps actually get built. This is where the amps are actually built. This is the electronics assembly room, and all amps start their basic beginning right here on at this bench. This is where all the circuit boards get assembled, and these are all circuit boards sitting in these various boxes that have been assembled, ready to be built into amplifiers. So we have parts here, we have parts here. And all of our stuff is hand-built. We don't do an assembly line kind of thing. Everything's hand-built by one person, basically, from start to finish, with the exception of the board. There might be one guy that'll do the board, and then somebody else will build the rest of the amp. But oftentimes, it'll be the same person that'll build the circuit board and build the amp. So we're not about production or assembly line. This is all real crafted stuff. And all of our boards are hand soldered each piece at a time. Many companies use like robotic, like automated methods of putting this stuff together. We do it all by hand. Every single part's individually soldered, and unfortunately nobody's doing anything else. You can't see it. You can't see it happen. But then after the circuit board gets assembled, then over in this area, and this is Jerry. Jerry's one of our assembly guys. That's Jerry there. And Jerry does assembly as well as circuit boards and as well as work in the back. Every amp then, each guy has his own little workstation, so then the amp is assembled from nothing more than just a sheet metal box like that to the final chassis such as this, all in this room, like I say, and again, with one person start to finish. After he finishes assembling the amp, it sits on this table for a couple of weeks. No, it doesn't sit for 2 weeks. It sits here until we have time to test it, and then it goes over here to our test area where we have our state-of-the-art high-tech 1950s test gear. And but we do vacuum tubes, so this is actually state-of-the-art for vacuum tube stuff. And here we do the electronics testing where we put a sine wave through the amp and we do all the various, you know, techie kind of stuff, but that still isn't going to guarantee it sounds good. That happens down in that room there. But this is where we put the juice to it and see if it blows up or not. If it doesn't, we're in good shape. You know, it means we did something right. And here's one of our assembly guys, Don.
Hi, Don.
This is Don, this is Lindsay, and this is DA. And Don's one of the master craftsmen that, yeah, one of our master craftsmen that build the cool amps. So after it gets tested there, it goes down to the nursery. After the nursery, it goes to this room here. Yeah, so this is the warehouse area back here. And this is where all the amps get their box that gives them some form. And right now, Russ is in the process of putting a serial number on a brand new 100-watt super lead overdrive. And so then he'll be assembling it into that cabinet there probably. And earlier, Russ was covering the cabinets because all the covering happens back here as well. we take the raw wood cabinets, which are seen over there in stacks, and those get wrapped in vinyl. We have all these different colored vinyls that we offer, and
So you can accessorize.
you can accessorize. We have many colors. We have sparkles, we have leopard, we have purple, which is my color, and we have standard black, of course. We have red, we have the fake snake, and then we have a bunch of other stranger stuff that we've done for people on custom order bases. And that's one thing we offer that most companies don't, is that we can actually offer something unlike anything else, because if somebody brings us their own fabric, as long as it's something we can get to stick to the cabinet, we can apply it for them, and we can make it a one-of-a-kind deal. We just did one for a guy down in Huntington Beach. He sent us this stuff that looked like a shower curtain, but it was actually pretty cool. It had this real cool retro look to it. And we covered an amp for him, and he's got the only one that'll ever be like that, because he supplied the material and he supplied it to us, and we don't even know where he got it. So he's got a very unique piece that way. So it's kind of like a signature that you can get, which big companies can't offer. They're too much. They're all about, you know, production line stuff.
You get a one-of-a-kind piece.
That's right, one of a kind. Yeah, then the rest of it is just like all the other stuff that you need to have an amp company, like, you know, a 37 Chevrolet, 1953 Triumph, 1960 Harley Davidson, all the stuff necessary for an amp business.
So you do more than just amplifiers here?
We certainly do. We do it all. If it's got vacuum tubes, we can do it. This is a product that we make that's an overdrive pedal for guitar amps, and it's called the Supercharger GTO, henceforth this really cool GTO artwork by John Lucassini. This is not your average guitar stomp box here. This baby's got some beef to it. We're talking 8.5 pounds of solid heavy metal lovin' here. And it's got some hurt to it. It's made out of, the sides are solid 1/2-inch aircraft aluminum, and they're CNC machined with our name in them. And this thing is like the most badass stomp box you'll ever play or hear. This is the Space Box. This is a new this is just the prototype, of course, but this is going to be a all-tube spring reverb unit to capture the twang of all the really great sounding reverbs of the past, as well as it'll be current. It has enough flexibility that it can get current sounds as well. But the basic thing is, a lot of digital reverbs can't capture that just that shimmer that you can get out of a true spring reverb. And so this is a actual spring reverb. It's got a full-length reverb tank, just like in all the old amps built in the 50s and stuff. And it's all tube circuitry, so it'll have nice warm sound. And you can use this. It's mainly designed for guitar, but we probably will be selling some of these to studios, and they'll be using them for recording vocals when they're trying to capture that real kind of, again, retro pureness of the old tube gear. So this is a prototype for that product.
But it's good that you can use new gear, get the same sound and better quality.
That's exactly right, Lindsay, because the problem is a lot of the old stuff is getting to be really hard to find, and a lot of it's getting real beat up and it doesn't work anymore, or else it's too valuable to take out to a club and play it. So yeah, we're filling kind of a vacuum that hasn't been filled in a long time for that sound, and with modern, well-built stuff that captures the old sound, etc., etc.
Why don't you tell us about some of your more famous customers?
Well, I've been quite fortunate to have had the opportunity to work with some of the biggest names in the music business, guitar player-wise anyway. Two of which have been Eric Clapton and the late Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I have a couple of pieces down in the showroom that I can show you that were actually played by those two gentlemen. And some of my other artists include Lou Reed, who's probably one of my biggest customers and fans, Mark Knopfler, and then just about every hair band guitar player from the 80s has used Soldano. We have a strong reputation in the heavy metal world, so our amps do rock. And when the company started in 1987, I was in LA at the time. I started my business in Hollywood, California, and man, I was supplying amps to just about every band that had White in their name, White Snake, White Lion, you know, Great White. They all had Soldanos. Warren DeMartini of Rat is still a major player. Yeah, CC DeVille of Poison. Richie Sambora, Mick Mars from Motley Crue. I mean, the list goes on and on. Matthias Jobs of the Scorpions. I mean, we've built amps for some real big name people. But follow me down to the showroom and we'll take a look at some historically significant pieces. This is my platinum thing I got from Great White, but of course they spell my name wrong. It's Miles Soldano. Yeah, so let me show you this amplifier over here, because the significance of this is that these two cabinets and a different amp that was in this cabinet, I've since sold it. When Cream was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Eric Clapton was playing through these actual cabinets back in, I think it was probably in the early 90s. Cream finally, they reunited just for one night to play at the Hall of Fame induction deal down in LA at some big fancy black tie event, and these babies were on stage with Cream, which was kind of cool because when I was a kid I listened to Cream, never got to see them live, and I didn't get to see that show live because I wasn't on the Hollywood A-list, but I did get to go to rehearsals, and this amp was played by Eric when that happened, which was kind of cool. Yeah, and then in here, this amplifier here was actually built for the late Stevie Ray Vaughan, and of course, sadly, he didn't live long enough to become the owner of it. He had it for a while, tragic accident, he died, and they sent it back to me because obviously he didn't have any real use for it where he was. But anyway, so yeah, this is what we around the shop refer to as the Stevie Ray amp, and I just keep it around as kind of a more sentimental thing than anything. And it was custom built for him. It has some modifications done to it and everything else to change the voicing slightly.
Well, thank you for talking with us and showing us your shop here.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's lots of fun.
It's nice
My pleasure.
to meet you again.
You betcha.
You're watching Go-Kustom TV.
Spotlight!
Hi, I'm here with Sherry McLaughlin, and I was just checking out her amazing 62 Chrysler. This is so beautiful, Sherry. Please tell us about your baby here.
Well, it's a 62 Chrysler 300. It's a non-letter series. Some of the real Chrysler 300 enthusiasts kind of, I don't know what they actually think of them, but I love it. I found it actually on the side of the road here in Seattle on a rainy day with a for sale sign in it, and picked it up. Has had 60,000 original miles. It's only had 2 other owners. The one had it from the day it was born, so to speak. Had it garaged the last 20 years. Pulled it out to do the brakes, and unfortunately he had a stroke and it affected his eyesight. Decided to sell it, and I picked it up. Has had nothing wrong with it. Everything was great. Had it painted by Tim Conder just to give it a little flair, and I drive it every day. It's my daily car.
You don't seem like a wussy to me. So what's with the wussy license plate?
Well, Wussy's actually started out as a scooter club about, oh my gosh, probably 10 years ago, and there's 30 of us. Only 3 of us are girls. 2 guys here in Seattle were sitting around drinking one night in a bar, and they're big and tattooed and pierced, and everyone always wanted to pick fights with them, and said, what would be the biggest, dumbest thing to do but to get a 4-inch size Gothic letters wussy tattoo and start this little club. And anyway, we kind of evolved from there. And most of us have old cars as well as vintage scooters, and it's more of a family. It's a lot of fun, yeah.
That's the best when it's more family, you know, it feels like family. That is so awesome. Well, thank you, Sherry.
You're
welcome. Wow.
If you have a band that has a video, if you're a short filmmaker, or you know somebody that we should interview for Go-Kustom Television, you can contact us at Go-Kustom, P.O. Box 77750, Seattle, Washington 98177-0750. You can also check out our website for more information at www.gokustom.com.